Golly jeepers. Man, feeling like talking crap today. So welcome back to the Home Court Hecklers. Surprised I didn't throw my hat 15 feet across the stadium, but it's probably going to happen at some point. I'm Will.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Kyle.
And welcome to our episode. Preseason football is almost over, and you know what that means?
Regular season.
Football that actually matters. Oh man, I'm so excited. What about you boys?
I'm ready. I'm excited for this season. I've been waiting for this since last season. It feels like a season has passed since last season. And then the second that I was waiting for the season to start, injuries.
Actually, technically, 2 seasons have passed. There's winter. There's, February. That's when the season ended. That's when the NFL season ended. Was in the winter.
All right, we'll be right back to deal with this clown.
Then you had the spring, and we're in the summer. So, 2 seasons.
I heard rumors that Kyler Murray might be out for the season.
And now we got that.
Hey, more
Yeah.
Madden time, I guess. Oh boy. But no, we got some big changes to the NFL landscape, boys. But you know what they say, predictions must go on, and we must be proven right and wrong in multiple aspects, because that is what the greatest sports predictors do, and we are not the greatest. We're just 3 idiots lying around in a college dorm, but we're going to do it anyway.
Yep.
Because why not? So,
Everyone can take a seat.
Josh, I have a question for you.
Yep.
Kicking it off with predictions. I want to hear from you first. Who do you think is going to be the team that has the biggest jump from last year to this year? Who has the biggest improvement?
The Baltimore Ravens. Or the New York Jets.
Really?
Those are 2 of my top teams that will make it. The Jets coming in at 12-5 because last year they won,
7 games.
7 games, and they didn't even have a legitimate quarterback.
Instead, they have a fossil who's coming off being a 5-year-old in Green Bay and now has multiple of the same weapons.
Exactly. And then the Ravens had a part-time NFL quarterback for the most part. So
Is he going to transition to full-time now?
he's a Pro Bowler. We got that. They have 2 Pro Bowl
Somehow he's a
QBs.
Pro
Yeah.
Bowler.
2 Pro Bowl QBs on the Ravens. So I think those 2 teams are going to take the biggest leaps.
How about that?
I like it.
What about you, Kyle?
I also have the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
And another team, I would say, is the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Really?
Yes, they were fiery hot at the end of last season.
And they're going to be brick cold at the beginning of this one.
Honestly, I think the Jaguars are going to be pretty good this year. I think Trevor Lawrence could be top 5 in MVP
Ooh.
candidate.
Interesting prediction.
No, I see that.
Where do you see them ending up this year, Kyle?
Record.
Well, I see them winning the division at 11-6.
I got the same record.
So a 2-game improvement. Interesting. That's not that big of a leap. I mean, you also had Baltimore, so.
Who about you? Top 2 teams.
Funny enough, I also had Baltimore, but I'm going to skip on Baltimore because there's 2 teams that I see taking huge leaps. This team, I think, can really put it together because of coaching and hopefully improvements on their quarterback play. The Denver Broncos have an elite defense. Elite. Even without Bradley Chubb, they have an elite defense. So they just need a healthy Javonte Williams, which they'll get this season, a good head coach in Sean Payton, and I believe that he can help Russell Wilson get out of his slump. And I see them making a leap from near the bottom of that division to an 11-6 record and a postseason berth.
Ooh.
Bold prediction, I know.
All
That's
right.
actually a pretty good prediction, though.
But
Okay.
I do like the Broncos, especially if Judy comes back. I know he got injured and he might miss some time, but when he comes back, he is going to cook for that team. Another team I see making a huge leap is the Chicago Bears. They got an absolute steal for trading the number 1 overall pick, acquiring DJ Moore to be a deep threat for a man who I think is going to take a huge step forward in his third season, Justin Fields. He's an elite runner, and now that he has a good receiver to throw the ball to take some pressure off of Claypool and Darnell Mooney, who are going to be great number 2s and number 3s respectively, I think, for the Bears. Not to mention their offensive line has had significant improvements. Darnell Wright, I think, is going to have a good rookie season. Their defense poses a lot of questions, which is why I only have them going 9-8.
Okay.
But
Okay.
given the fact that this team has already made so many significant improvements, I think they can take a huge step forward.
All right. So with that being said, which team is taking steps backwards?
Ooh,
And Will, you can go first.
the backward steppers. Well, obviously, I think one team obviously is the Cardinals. Kyler Murray's injured. They're trading away a bunch of their key. Well, I want to say key, but they're trading away good players for next to nothing. Josh Jones is gone. Isaiah Simmons is gone. DeAndre Hopkins was cut for nothing.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, they're just blowing it up. They're just ready to annihilate the ship. They had a GM change, a coaching change. Life is terrible down in Arizona. So they're going to have a terrible year. They'll win 2 games, but they're going to stink.
Now, Kyle, what about you? Which team takes the biggest downfall?
Well, I hate to say it, but the Cincinnati Bengals.
Ooh.
It sucks because, they seem to be getting back on track from however many years they've, just lost and lost and lost. But this year's probably going to be their downfall because they don't have Joe Burrow for around half of the year. So I think that's going to be a big factor on why they lose.
And what record we have them at?
8-9.
You know what's funny? If he somehow comes back earlier, or they win a good amount of games without him, you're gonna look like the biggest clown on the internet. And it might be the funniest thing. But I see where you're coming from. And then for me, the biggest downfall, technically I wanna say the Bucks. Because the Bucks did make the playoffs last year, but they weren't even that good of a playoff team. I got them going 3-14.
Oh, no,
Like,
same.
I'm sorry, I don't think they're bad. They have good players, but they're also just not.
Their quarterback
Impressive.
competition is Baker Mayfield
There's no
and a
competition.
random
There is no
second
competition.
Yeah,
anymore.
Baker won it.
Yeah, Baker won it.
Yeah, and he's probably not going to hold the job for more than 2 weeks.
That's the thing. If we got big play Baker, awesome Baker again, then yeah, he can win games. But that's a big if.
Did we
And
forget
I
to
don't
mention
trust
that 2/5 of their offensive line is injured? One of their wide receivers is on the wrong side of 32. The other is injured like crazy. And their defense has gone through a bunch of pieces. They have a couple of solid ones like Vita Vea, who just got locked up, but there's way too many inconsistencies on that team.
it? Yeah, so they're that's another team taking a big downfall. And then obviously, one more to name. I think the Packers they're not going to be as good with just Jordan Love. I think they'll be okay, but their team is extremely young. They're not there yet, at all.
You know who I else see taking a huge step back this year? Just from regression and overall talent, and just having a tough schedule? I see Dallas having a rough year.
Ooh,
really?
Yes, I do.
What do you
All
have the
right.
Cowboys
Call
at?
me biased
I love it.
because we all know which team I'm a fan of, but their strength of schedule is very, very strong. And this team has struggled with consistency. Dak has struggled with consistency, even coming back from injury last year. Their O-line has been solid, but has had a bunch of rotating pieces, and that defense is literally the definition of boom or bust. Not to mention that besides Micah Parsons, no player on that team has been consistently great on that
But they
defensive
got
side of the
Gilly
ball.
Locke,
Gilly Locke. You're relying on Gilly Locke.
Stephon Gilmore,
Gilmore has been
Defensive Player of
okay
the Year,
back,
They got-
back 5 years ago.
They got
4 years ago.
1,000-yard allowed cornerback, Javon Diggs.
Exactly, 1,000 yards allowed. Man is literally boom or bust.
They got that
He's gonna
one
kill
guy,
that defense as he's
Bland.
going to say it.
Bland's pretty good.
Bland's been okay, but he has been great. But honestly, I just see them being overmatched week after week by better teams. And that's
Speaking of
going to
better
lead them
teams.
going to 6-11 on the season.
What?
Damn.
6 wins?
Now, to be fair, I sort of do this every year where I predict the Cowboys are going to suck and they don't. But here's the thing. The downfall of the Cowboys is coming. And I'm going to keep going at it until
this
it
year.
comes. So it's going to come this year. And you want to know why? Because Mike McCarthy's still head coach. And they got rid of Kellen Moore, who wasn't necessarily a terrible O coordinator, but he wasn't great either.
Shit, man.
So if Mike McCarthy's just going to take control of play calling, it's over for this Cowboys team.
As an Eagles fan, I hope you're right.
Exactly.
As a fan of the NFL, I also hope you're right.
Exactly.
But since you are talking about offensive coordinators and just offense in general, who are going to be the top offenses this year?
Well,
And I'll go first. I'll go first.
You go first. I want to hear you.
Biggest explosive offenses or offenses that have taken a big jump this year. Not gonna lie, my sleeper team for that is the New York Giants. I personally think that this year, having Darren Waller and Bellinger as their two tight ends, having people like Paris Campbell, Isaiah Hodgins, and most importantly, Jalen Hyatt, with also having Eric Gray, rookie running back, having Saquon Barkley, and having Danny Dimes, with a pretty solid offensive line, I think this offense is going to be a lot better than they were last year. That's why I have them, going at 11-6. But not only that, if I'm keeping it on the NFC side, I got Seattle's offense being super explosive, like they were last year, except now just add Jackson Smith and Jigba to an already good offense. And then another offense I have just going ballistic this season. I'm going to say the Saints can low-key be pretty good. I'm not going to lie.
That's not a bad prediction.
I
Not
think...
bad.
That's
Okay,
not
okay.
bad.
If,
I don't hate
and it's the biggest if they're healthy, you can't tell me that Alvin Kamara, DeAndre Miller, Jamal Williams, what's his name? Like Juwan Johnson or something like that. Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, Raheed Shaheed. You can't tell me they can't put up numbers.
Literally.
Yeah.
And Derek Carr's not necessarily a bad quarterback. Or at least
Exactly.
we don't like to think that. He had a rough year with the Raiders.
I think
but bear in mind, they're also coached by Josh McDaniels.
But that's my top 3 NFC.
Well, you look at every roster across the NFC, and I don't think there's a singular offense that's more talented than the Phillies. Like, Jalen Hurts, dual-threat quarterback, second best in the league,
Yep.
only behind Patrick
The
Mahomes.
Phillies.
The wide receiver core is ridiculous.
Yep,
Obviously,
Bryce Harper's
A.J.
insane.
Brown, who was the top 5 receiver last year in terms of yards, and, of course, good old Devontae Smith, who nearly eclipsed 1,000 yards last year, if not.
And he will
Actually,
this
no.
year. He did. No, he did.
No, he
last
did
year.
eclipse 1,000 yards. My bad. He did get 1,000 yards, and he will again this year because he's like that. Plus, the running game improved. Yes, Miles Sanders is gone, but getting DeAndre Swift and Rashad Penny has also been great in terms of replacement. Not to mention that Kenneth Gainwell is going to take a huge step forward this year, and of course, our offensive line is still a brick wall.
And you got Zacchaeus.
And
Zacchaeus
Zacchaeus is a
third
good wide receiver 3. All in all, this offense is just stacked. Just purely stacked. And then there's another team with a great offense. I have to agree with your assessment on the Saints here. I think they really do have a powerful offense with
They're
those
pretty
guys.
good.
And I think Derek Carr's going to step up. But we can't forget about the Lions. The Lions have a great
Mhm.
offense.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're looking really good.
If Goff can take a step forward this year, and if Williams performs up to advertise when he comes back, then that offense is going to pop off to another level. And it performed really well last year, despite it being a bit of a rebuild year.
I'll do one on each conference. First, I'll start with the AFC, and I'll go with the Steelers.
Yeah.
I think George Pickens is going to be a big, he's going to be a big factor on why this offense will explode. You also got Freiermuth, who's one of the best in the league.
Top 10.
Deontay Johnson, who is one of the best wide receiver 2s.
Hopefully he gets a touchdown this year.
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, and Kenny Pickett, he just looks so good. The NFC, I'm going with Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad. Yeah, that's bad.
I am a little nervous because JSN injured his thumb. Was it?
I don't remember. If it's a thumb injury, he'll be fine.
Yeah. He should be fine, but I think JSN is going to be a big weapon for the Seahawks team. Then you also got Tyler Lockett, who's also still good.
1,000-yard receiver.
Yeah, he's a little older, but I think he could still put up numbers. Yeah, I mean, Geno,
We'll see if that season wasn't a fluke for him.
yeah, Geno, I think he's trying to prove all the haters wrong.
Folks, I don't know about you, but I'm excited for football in the coming weeks.
Same here.
So am I.
Can't wait.
Oh, and also, for you guys tuning in, make sure to tune into our TikTok and YouTube pages come week 1, because the 3 of us are heading to Foxborough
Yes, sir.
to watch the Eagles play Josh's Patriots
Big vlog
in
coming.
week 1. Yep, we got a big vlog coming
sir.
on one of our TikTok or YouTube pages. Be sure to check that out as we record our journey where Josh will hopefully not hit a curb on the way over.
Hopefully.
Keyword hopefully, unless he road rages. And of course, Kyle's going to get some good photos on his camera.
Hell
And of course, the 3 of us are going to be clowns the entire time, mostly making fun of Josh because his team's mid.
Now, when I see Juju touchdown,
Oh
it's
my
going to go
God.
crazy.
Yeah, goodness gracious.
And then I'm gonna barf.
You can barf. Well, whole Patriot fans, don't be.
team.
Y'all not ready for that Bill O'Brien.